welcome to the September 30th meeting of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. I am President Catherine Staub, and I am absolutely delighted to see all of you here today. We've got a big group, a talkative group. So as a professor, I do this. I'll stare at students until they stop talking. You're going to boot me out of this job, aren't you? Matt, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let me try this again. We are absolutely delighted to have all of you here today. If you saw me walk up to the podium, you see that I am still wearing my mask when I'm not eating or drinking, and we suggest that you do the same thing. And now, thank you to Graham Gillette, who signed up to lead our moment of inspiration. You too can lead a moment of inspiration by signing up online or out in the lobby. Graham.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to start with an apology, which is an odd way to start inspiration, but I was very excited about today's program and our speaker, and I signed up to give the words of inspiration and then realized that I was double booked, and I have to go to an event over at Waterworks. It's a Waterworks employee appreciation lunch, and I got to go over there, so I'm going to do something terrible and do this, and I'm going to leave, and so I'm apologizing in advance. But I think part of the reason I decided to do both because they're actually kind of linked. And I think that's important. During trying times like these, public servants like those at Waterworks have never failed their duty. Des Moines and Central Iowa are remarkable places because of the selfless commitment made by those in public sector jobs. From first responders to healthcare workers, to those who collect garbage and plow the snow from our streets, to yes, those who ensure our water is safe, affordable, and abundant. These people, these workers, meet the Rotary four-way test every day. And this brings me to our speaker. The Lauritzen family invests considerable time, effort, and treasure making Des Moines and Iowa better. Their generosity can be seen in the skate park, just out these windows, at the amphitheater of Waterworks Park, and many other projects and locations throughout our state. They even retired the debt for a small town fire station, which I thought was pretty great. No project is too big or small for them, or so it seems. So let me get to today's words of inspiration. We live in an age when news stories about what divides us are far too numerous. Pointing fingers happens more than shaking hands. Finding common ground is often shelved in favor of protecting partisan power. The importance of self all too often trumps the greater good. We need to redouble our efforts to squash these destructive forces. Frankly, we need to employ the Rotary Creed and get to work. We should not allow strife and tribalism to eclipse the simple ideas that promise to make America great. We are stronger together. We again need to pledge ourselves to one another to meet the future we seek. Look around. The muses of our better selves are around us. Find strength and give thanks to those who work day in and day out serving our community. Recognize that, like the family Lauritzen, we can all do more to help lift our community, state, country, and neighbors a little bit higher. No project, no gift, no act of kindness is too small. It is up to us to make the difference we desire. So with that, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I think, Skeet, don't we need to get a real flag at some point? All right, maybe. Anyway, now let's do the four-way test. Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Now, great wave at your fellow Rotarians. Thank you, Graham. All right, if you have not yet filled out your postcard for a t-shirt, I think this is your last opportunity. So as you probably know, our club is making t-shirts available for all members to wear with pride when we're out doing community service or just to whatever you may be doing to share your membership and pride in Rotary Club of Des Moines. So if you have not yet filled out your t-shirt, do that, give it to Jordan. Or you can send an email to Kitty with your t-shirt size. It is a pre-shrunk 50-50 cotton poly dry fit t-shirt. It is officially fall, which means colder weather is on the way, and so we are hopefully. What we are definitely doing though is our Operation Warm Coat Drive. So you can help buy coats for children who need a winter coat. Our goal is to raise enough money to buy 350 coats to be distributed to children through Orchard Place and Boys to Men youth programs. So there are sign-up sheets on each of your tables. So there's the sheet and photo of kids with the coats on the back. Each coat costs $20 and you can donate to buy as many as you are able to do. We can either bill your account or you can send your check or pay via PayPal online to make your donation. And the drive will go through October 11th. So got about a week and a half for that. Then I would like to make an announcement about Rotary Youth Exchange for the 2022-23 year. And there'll be more details about this in Tuesday's bulletin. But Rotary International has announced that they are going to reopen the Rotary Youth Exchange program for 22-23. If you have a child who is a sophomore or junior in high school currently, and if they are interested potentially in applying for Rotary Youth Exchange Outbound for the 22-23 school year, please email Dan Conley no later than October 15th. Applications are due by October 30th. And like I said, there will be more details in the bulletin. The other piece of this is that if you do have a sophomore or junior who is interested in going outbound, we also need you to be interested in hosting an inbound student. I can tell you from personal experience a couple of times, it's an amazing opportunity and experience, and it just has lifelong wonderful effects. So I highly encourage you to do that. And now, without further ado, I invite Lynette to the podium to introduce our keynote speaker. Lynette?
Thank you, President Catherine. As you see me at my mask, I don't know if you can see it in the back, it has the Danish flag on it. We have a little bit of Denmark today. And I say that because I was asked to introduce our speaker, and I can only guess that they assumed I knew her because of our suffix of our last name. I'm Rasmussen, she's Lauritsen, so we must know each other. In fact, we didn't, but very much enjoyed getting to meet her and her brothers. Welcome them, Walter and Augie. And Augie is spelled A-A-G-E, but you pronounce it Augie. So that, at least in the United States, that's how we pronounce it. So you are in for a treat. And I did my marketing little video of why I joined Rotary today. It's part of our board duties, and I was happy to do it. But what I said is, you learn about all the gems in Des Moines. Not only do we have the streets we haven't gone down and we see something that just sprouted up and you're like, wow, when did they build, when did they build across East 14th, that bridge at Grandview University? Those sorts of things. Also with people, you meet people that like, wow, you've lived in Des Moines and you've done all these things, but you wouldn't know. So I'm whetting your appetite because I think you're going to hear about that today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Christine Lauritsen. She's the CEO of the Lauritsen Group, LGI, where she leads growth projects, including acquisitions, and provides general management oversight of the LGI operating companies. LGI is a family-owned holding company with 6 independent operating companies dedicated to enhancing human and animal health and nutrition. Christine started her career working as a corporate financial analysis at William Blair, a Chicago-based investment bank. She then spent several years with LGI companies in Europe, working on projects in Spain, Poland, Sweden, Germany, and Denmark, prior to joining the team at LGI headquarters, located in Ankeny in 2009. Christine received a Bachelor of Science from Cornell University and a Master's in Business Administration from Harvard University. Christine is a board member of the Des Moines Airport Authority. Christine and her husband, Rob Sand, reside in Des Moines and have 2 young boys, Tate and Axel. Please welcome Christine.
Thanks, Lynette. Thank you very much for having me here today. I didn't know much about Rotary prior to coming, so I appreciated the opportunity to look more about you online, and really truly appreciate your civicness, and I like the four-way test. I saw that online before coming, so thanks for your curiosity in having me here today. I'm going to talk about Lords and Grove, my family business. I'm going to go kind of deep into the history and then cover our 6 different operating companies with a highlight of our consumer-facing product at the end. So all of our businesses are involved in animal and human nutrition. Another core tenet of our businesses is that we improve the effectiveness of the food system. We focus on the half of the animal that isn't used directly as meat consumption. So when an animal is slaughtered, a pig or a cow is slaughtered, 50% goes to direct meat consumption, and then the other 50% are co-products that we focus on sourcing and adding value to. We also have a dairy business that does something similar in dairy as well. We focus in our dairy business on the co-products of cheese and whey making. We talk about ourselves as a family in business, number one. And my great-grandfather emigrated to the US from Denmark. Thanks for the tea up there. He had to pay off his way for a few years, and then once he had done so, started a creamery in Dedham, Iowa, and brought over technology from Denmark that was really cutting edge dairy technology, centrifuges and other dairy processes to help improve the dairy industry in Iowa generally. He then gave the business to his 2 sons, who then wound up separating. My grandfather started another creamery in Denison, Iowa, and then got involved in meat packing. He was a founder of IBP, and IBP is now part of Tyson. We today, as a family business, don't have any slaughter, but while my grandfather was growing that business, he became extremely interested in the byproduct side of the business. So in 1975, my dad, with help from his father, and then with a lot of help also from my mom, who was helping with back office, took a failing rendering company and had a lot of fun turning it around. So after they were able to do that, they looked at other failing businesses in Iowa and found a failed dairy drying. So they had been previously drying milk powders. They took that over and tried to spray dry different products through the dryers, including white blood cells, which is the immunoglobulin from plasma, and red blood cells, as well as soup stocks and broths. It took a long time for that second part of the business to become profitable. But then finally, fortunately, my dad, who was trained as in law, didn't have any science background necessarily or business background, enjoyed turning things around. He did a lot of research early on with Iowa State. And so with some of these spray-dried proteins that he was working with, he they would do tests in animals, palatability tests, to see how the spray-dried proteins would work and how interesting they would be to the animals. Usually they were in pets, in dogs and cats. At ISU one day they didn't have any dogs, but they did have a bunch of pigs. So they tried these spray-dried plasma proteins in piglets, baby piglets, and that improved, not only did the piglets love it, but it improved their performance. It reduced the death loss of the piglets. So a really fortunate error, or a fortuitous thing that happened in the history of our business. My dad then went around, still with back office support of my mom, and just thinking about that theme of the effectiveness of the food system. My mom is a lifelong vegetarian, but she just loved supporting this business early on because of looking at all of the different parts of the animal and how you could utilize the different parts to the fullest. So they went around the world developing and contracting blood